Um, it's Saturday, August 3rd, 4:53 a.m. Um, in Toronto. I just moved here about a month ago from Vancouver, and yeah, I was just going through my videos on my photo booth on my laptop, and I found my vlog from last year, from last September, 2023. Oh yeah, and right now it's 2024. Um, I'm 24 years old. Um, and I am no longer going by SoyJoy, and yeah, SoyJoy is not active as of the end of last year technically, but I announced it I think in March of 2024 this year. Um, so yeah, so I was going through my photo booth videos and I found the vlog from last year, and then I was um, reminded of its existence and the existence of the previous video to that one, the previous vlog from the year before. I think I filmed it in October 2022. So yeah, I guess, well, now I'm going by June Hawthorne, and I came out with an album under that name. The album is called Breaker. It came out in May this year. Um, so yeah, I've already been working on my new project, and I've toured, which I'll get into more a bit later because I'll try to go chronologically. But I need some water. I quit smoking. I think around January or so. I had like one cigarette back in May, but um, yeah, that's a big achievement for DIY underground musician, I would say. Um, um, but yeah, I decided to end SoyJoy for a lot of reasons, but I guess the last updates that I gave were in September last year. I had just finished my tour with Freddie Lee Toyota, which that was such a special time, and I love them so much. They're such a wonderful person and an incredible musician. Um, and they recently just got nominated to earn a bunch of grant money for because they were recognized for all the work that they do with Envy Party and their own singer-songwriter indie rock music that they make. Um, I love their music so much, and I hope I get to tour with them again. But yeah, so we did our tour, a little Pacific Northwest tour, and yeah, and then after that, I put on some other shows. I put on another show for Pigeon Pit, um, and that went really well. And then yeah, I put on a show for Sister Wife Sex Strike. That was pretty iconic. And okay, now it's all kind of a blur, but I know I played other shows even though I was like totally burnt out, and I had been working at Bonds Off Broadway as a busser from like August to November, um, to pay rent for the basement suite I was living in with Ava, who played lead guitar for SoyJoy, and she produced the album that I came out with, Not in Service, was the name. Um, and she also had her own project called Boy Motor. But yeah, I was really unwell, um, and everyone could see it in me. I was smoking so much, and um, I just was so burnt out, and I hadn't really had time to like just stop and rest. Um, and I know a lot of people don't get to have that, but I had experienced a lot of um, frontline trauma, and I felt like music in a way, like not music, but specifically SoyJoy, um, was me trying to support other people from having experienced frontline trauma, and I was kind of trying to incorporate healing for myself, and I think it did help me heal. However, I think I gave more, um, or I made myself give more than what I was receiving. Um, and it's not that people weren't giving me like it's not that I wasn't receiving energy or support or anything back. Like I was, but um, just with the just with where I was at, I needed a lot of support that I couldn't get from trying to do SoyJoy. Because yeah, I feel like I went into it taking on a lot of responsibilities, um, more than I was capable of, and I really didn't ask a lot of people for help very often when I could have. And yeah, and I think I was more focused on using it as a tool for community and, you know, people around me in my life. Um, and yeah, it was a tool to support and process and heal from frontline trauma, um, instead of, well, no, not instead of. That was a great thing. It was a beautiful thing. I'm really proud of myself. I put so much blood, sweat, and tears into it, and I learned so much, and I, you know, experienced a lot of amazing things, and I'm so blessed and grateful for it. But I just couldn't keep doing that, and I realized that there were a lot of personal artistic um, needs that I had that weren't able to be fulfilled through um, a project like SoyJoy. And I feel like SoyJoy didn't just belong to me, it belonged to the other bandmates that were part of it, and, you know, all the people that showed up to the shows, and to the visual artists, and, you know, like, I feel like a lot of people were really invested in it and gave it life and gave me life and all of that. But I I realized that I need a form of musical artistic expression, a project that is for me and my own healing on my own and my introspection. And I was kind of trying to do that with SoyJoy. You know, they're very personal, vulnerable songs, but I couldn't take it to the full extent. Um, and so there was this tension because of that, within myself and with me and the people around me, um, and I didn't really have the time to just stop and like properly think about what I wanted and what my boundaries were, because it was all so fast and I was just go 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 all the time. And then I had this really intense, physically and emotionally draining busing job, that I was doing while being like a micro celebrity in Vancouver. Um, and like someone called me, I think it was my friend Justin from Still Depths. We were jamming uh, by the ocean near our houses, and they called me the scene doctor, as in like I was the person that you went to if there was something wrong happening in the music scene, or and like yeah, just everyone was kind of treating me like their mom in the scene. Yeah, not everyone, and I feel like there's also other people in the scene um, that are also treated like that. But anyway, I was really fucked up, and I don't feel comfortable sharing what those specific things were. But yeah, I've seen some shit, and the people in my life have seen a lot of shit and experienced a lot of shit that is like unimaginable and kind of unspeakable. Um, like yeah, so it was a lot, and um, I realized that I would probably die um, if I kept going with things the way that I was going. Um, Whoa, did that make sense as a sentence? Anyway, so yeah, so I decided. Oh, well, also, my mom and we had started to call each other again and be in contact again. Um, this was 2023. Yeah, like at the start of 2023, we started talking again. And then I decided that towards the end of the year, like around the holidays, like December, that I would go back to Korea and stay there for a while, and that um, I would move to Toronto to go to school for American Sign Language to English um, interpretation, to get a degree in ASL English interpretation, so that I could become a sign language interpreter, um, or at least have the certification for it. And so I announced that, and yeah, it was big and emotional, and I had almost spent, was it, how many years? I spent like 4 years in Vancouver, or almost 5 years, living there on my own. Um, I had like my cousins and uncles and extended family, but yeah, without my parents, and um, just being a queer kid, bad queer kid, um, being a little punk, uh, and getting beautiful hand tattoos, but they're kind of job stopper tattoos, and not the best choice for getting into American, or getting into um, sign language interpretation. So I'll probably have to cover those up sometimes at least. Even though they've protected my hands, I do know that they're very special. But um, anyway, so um, yeah, so I left to Korea to see my family, see my parents and my sibling, and just get a break from uh, my life in Vancouver. It just became too much, and so many people like wanted things from me or expected things from me, And I think it was a combination of, yeah, people just seeing me as someone they could ask um, to receive help from, and then also me not being able to say no, um, struggling to set boundaries because I'd just been pulled by other people in like all these different directions, and I hadn't had the time to just like sit in my own energy and know who I was, and who I needed to be going forward. So yeah, so I went to Korea, and I I stayed with my parents, and that was that allowed me to just like focus on myself for um, quite a number of months. I stayed there till like the end of May, and I got my driver's license, Korean driver's license, but um, and yeah, I rested. I got to rest after so many years of just go go go. I finally got the vacation that I needed, and there was some really, really, really traumatic stuff that I had experienced, um, and I wasn't able to get the proper support that I needed around it. Um, but going to Korea just allowed me to like focus on healing from those things, and then I around March or so. So I was there from like the beginning of December to the end of May. Um, beginning of, or I don't know when I announced it, but I think it was like February or March. I realized that I just couldn't continue with SoyJoy. Um, and I wasn't going to, since I was leaving Vancouver, but it felt like I had left SoyJoy in Vancouver, and that SoyJoy was supposed to stay there. I couldn't bring it with me to the new places I was going to be in Korea or in Toronto. And also, when I started up the band camp back in 2019, I made it with I was trying to copy Frankie Cosmos. Greta, she would just like post all these albums, and that really inspired me, just to see like how she would just, you know, write all these songs and then just share them online, and then have this huge archive of songs, but they were like um, not as polished as like these later albums that she made. Um, and it almost was just like her journal of like demos and ideas and just like fun experiments, and that's what I wanted the SoyJoy Bandcamp and catalog to be. And then but then I already had this thing going, and so I was like, hey, I could use this to like support myself and my friends, and like, you know, I have these songs we could play. And so yeah, it was kind of all over the place. And I wanted something that was more intentional and more um, a project where the vision was clear, and a project that was where I could comfortably say was mine. Um, and so yeah, I was yeah, so I came up with June Hawthorne one night, and it was like maybe about a week of me trying to like come up with this name. Um, and I kept having like different, like I was like, it needs to be two words, um, and then I don't want it to be Juniper Lee or like something that's like Juniper da da da, but it should sound like it's someone's name, but it's not my name, and it's like not really my stage name. It's like a project name, but it sounds like someone's first and last name. Um, and so yeah, it was like, I don't know, 3 or 4 a.m. in the morning. I was struggling to have consistent sleep. Um, but I opened my eyes and I saw this spirit just standing over me. And um, I was like, "Who are you?" And they were like, "June Hawthorne." And then they like crawled into my mouth. And now June Hawthorne is inside of me. Um, yeah, so I'm like, did I share too much? I don't know. But um, yeah, you can believe it or not, you know. It could have just been in my imagination. But yeah, and I guess I really love all the SoyJoy songs so much. Um, but it was a little all over the place, like stylistically. And when I was in Korea, and kind of leading up to that, like, um, I had been listening to a lot of um, country, I guess, country music and like folk, like 70s singer songwriter folk, um, and just I had just been like noticing how like um, traditional American folk music had, and like Celtic folk music and the blues and all of that, um, um, had really influenced a lot of these like different musicians I was listening to, and um, I wanted to. I felt called to try to make uh, something that tried to reference these different like flavors and like spices and different seasonings that like country or blues or traditional like old time American music had to offer. And yeah, so um, and I had a lot of these like spiritual themes that I wanted to express and convey, and I felt like referencing these like kind of older sounding um, genres and instruments even. I felt like that was another tool to like amplify the spirituality, the spiritual aspect of the music. Like I feel like it really um, supported the lyrics, and so yeah, I recorded. Well, I had written some of the songs when I was in Vancouver, like over the summer of 2023, and yeah, so I feel like Breaker, which was the album that I came out with in May, um, had a more cohesive sound, um, and yeah, and maybe thematically, like a lot of the stories, they like there was a more clear thread between all of them, um, like with the political and queer and like spiritual aspects of all the songs. And yeah, so I just was like totally hyper focused on making this album for like months. Like my uncle in Korea lent me his like old acoustic guitar from the 90s where um oh, I forget what it's called. Is it like the tension? Um like when I would play on the higher frets, it was like out of tune. It sounded out of tune. Um the I don't know as much about guitar as I should, but yeah, so um what I'm trying to say is that it wasn't the best guitar to play with or record with, but somehow I think it really worked, and I like emailed a bunch of my friends who were on Turtle Island, and I asked them if they wanted to like be featured on some of my tracks and if they could play fiddle or mandolin or banjo or sing or play guitar overdubs and then send them to me. And um, and I was gonna get a friend to mix and master it, but we decided that I should find someone else to do it. But I didn't find anyone else. I did it all myself, and I did like a lot of research on how to like master tracks and stuff, um, and what was good for like this genre of music, like how many decibels I should put the limiter on, and yeah, I just DIY'd it. Um, I I mixed and mastered it, and yeah, it was quite the time to like be mixing all these like different overdubs that were like recorded in different places with like different kinds of microphones. Some was like phone recordings, others were like microphone recordings, and um, so yeah, I kind of put it all together, and then announced that I was um, ending SoyJoy and starting June Hawthorne, and I had to like change the Instagram handle and all of that. And oh, but I'd released 3 music videos for SoyJoy for some of the songs, and that was really fun to make. I did that while in Korea before I was really working on the new album. And then yeah, I finished the album, released it, made tapes. I organized a tour with Miriam Hacksaw from she's currently based in Portland. Um, she's originally from Eugene. She's mixed Malayali, but she's gonna move to New Orleans in the fall. But yeah, we did a Pacific Northwest tour together, and we had some friends come along and drive us, and I drove some of the way, which was cool, even though everyone was kind of on edge about it since I'm a new driver. But um, I'm not too bad. I'm pretty good for a new driver. And yeah, I drove up and down I-5, the highway, and yeah, it was really special getting to hear Miriam play her songs every night, and um, we played with Freddie Lee Toyota, and we played with Sister Wife Sex Strike and Captain Preacher, our friend Spur, and spent my birthday in Seattle, and yeah, it was a really good time. And then pretty soon after that, I played Music Waste, and um, yeah, and someone from Exclaim, Elena Massing, wrote this like really detailed, thoughtful, very uplifting article for Exclaim, Canada's #1 authority on music according to their Instagram bio. And yeah, that was pretty cool. Like, um, yeah, just to have that kind of press exposure through a, I guess they're a magazine like Exclaim. Um, but yeah, so uh, yeah, I played Music Waste, and that was really fun. And I played at Green Auto and 648 Kingsway, and then I moved to Toronto towards the end of June, and yeah, it's August 3rd today, so I've been here for just over a month, and um, yeah, it's very different out here, but yeah, I've been setting up my new home and helping out my roommate with a lot of stuff around the house, and resting. I've been resting a lot, getting prepared for my degree, for my program in the fall. So yeah, I guess I'm continuing with my oh I guess I'm continuing with my music. I'm gonna try to keep playing shows while I do school, and I'll have summer vacation, and I have like a fall break and winter break, so I'll have time to tour and play shows here in Toronto and go back to Vancouver, and who knows where else I'll get to travel and play. But yeah, I'm so grateful. I'm still adjusting to. I don't know if I'll ever get used to it, but um, to how people treat you differently when you're a musician, or if they're a fan of your music. It's felt kind of isolating, to be quite honest, and I still feel like a lot of people project a lot of stuff onto me without really knowing what my personal life is like, and even what my musical life is like, because you know it's still a lot. And yeah, gosh, there's so much to say. I didn't even get into. Oh yeah, there's so much happening politically, and it's kind of, sometimes it feels absurd to be making music in these times, but with what's happening in Palestine, with the genocide happening there, and what's happening in Sudan and Congo, and with climate change, and just everything. Um, it's like it can feel kind of pointless or frivolous or idle to be making music, but then I realized, no, like we have to we have to do this, because we're in this for the long haul, and people are going to burn out, and just lose hope, and not keep fighting for a better future. And even if the future isn't better, existence is struggle. It's all a fight, and we got to keep on fighting, because these moments of connection and love, these moments of art, these moments of music and shows with queer and trans people just coming together, BIPOC coming together, and just like celebrating life and being grateful for all the abundance that we do have. Like, that's the point of all this. And so we have to keep doing this. And we can right now, like part of fascism is to squash out art and and cultural workers, and and yeah, I actually have so much to say on this, but I feel like 35 minutes is a long time. But yeah, this is my last SoyJoy vlog update, I guess. It's the third one and the last one. But yeah, I'm going on to new things, and I'm scared and terrified, but also really excited, and I'm also just ready for all the bullshit that comes with doing anything, you know? Life is just an up and down roller coaster. Um, I'm not a very placid person. I'm a person of extremes. Um, so yeah, bring it on. Bring it on, life. Um, yeah. And I guess SoyJoy forever. I'm just really grateful to everyone who like was part of SoyJoy as an existence in Vancouver, and I made the first two vlogs private, or unlisted on YouTube, um, until today, because I think it's like a really important part of the history of music in so-called Vancouver on unceded Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh lands. Um, it was really special, and I'm really proud of myself and my friends, and you know, everyone who, like, all the people who were part of running the venues, and people who showed up, and people who asked me to play with them. Like, I don't know, that was really special. And yeah, yeah, we'll see what happens to SoyJoy. Maybe they'll make a little return at some point in the future. But yeah, okay. 감사합니다.